in regards to like celebrating the wins and, you know, being in real time, you said something to me I thought was like poignant where you was talking about like a year ago, certain rooms you were in, you knew you belonged in there, but you understood you had work to do and growth to, you know.
I had to earn some respect. Yeah, or at least some type of yeah.
And now a year later, you're in those same rooms, and you know it's a difference. You feel the difference.
100%.
And before I let you talk more about that, I have like a similar, you know, entrepreneurial businessman type shit versus 9 to 5 type climbing that ladder. I have a different perspective of that, or a similar perspective where it's like I had left when I kind of like shifted my life and kind of, you know, got to where I'm at now, whatever. It was 4 years ago, roughly. I was working at a job, you know, bullshit level of a job, whatever. And that's when I kind of was like, yeah, something got to give. I got to figure some shit out, transform shit, whatever. And I told myself, yeah, like I'm going to leave here, come back, making way more, kind of running shit, whatever.
Yeah.
In real time, it was kind of like, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I remember I was thinking, because the company I left, it was a great company. It just, I was at the bullshit level. So, like, and one thing I will say, if you in that
is different when you in coach versus when you in first class.
And one thing I always tell people about, like, you know, that 9 to 5 shit, like it always pays more. Instead of trying to negotiate where you at, it pays more to leave and come back for it. Because they gonna pay what you weigh when you show your value somewhere else.
That's a fact.
So when I went through, I had to go through and left and came back, whatever. And then when I recently got back to that company, I kind of forgot about that. It was kind of like locked in my subconscious until I had to go get my badge. When I went and got my badge, they, oh, you used to work here. And I was like, and I saw my old badge and my old
title. So you had an old job again?
Huh?
The job you had now is an old job?
Yeah, I used to work there for years ago. Like
full circle.
Right before I started this whole journey.
Yeah.
And when I got that badge, it hit me where I was like, I remember 4 years ago being here thinking like, I'm gonna come back here and make way more fucking money.
Like, yeah, like this parking spot gonna be mine. It's gonna say Q Day on this jump.
And then I was walking through, it was like, I remember being in here and it was different shit 4 years ago.
Nigga had on a golf shirt before, now he got a towel on. Nigga, he done moved on up in the world.
Yeah, you know, seeing people I used to work with is like, I told y'all.
Yeah.
So I was gonna do it. And not like, but not even on no shit talking away. It's just like they thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm about to do this XYZ. They're like, what the fuck are you even talking about?
You see the vision.
Yeah, so you know, I can relate to that where it's like when you in the same room as you was at previously, and now you walk in every room different.
And I think it's a self more than it's about the acknowledgement of others. It's a self realization. Sure. Like, dang, like this is like, how else do you gauge your progress if you don't look in the mirror to see your results, right? So it's like when you hit the gym, you just working. You put your head down, you actually putting the work in. You don't really notice that you gain weight, lost weight, put on muscle. But then when you see somebody you ain't seen in 6 months, they're like, damn, dog, you strong as shit. You like, oh yeah, that's what you did. You're like, oh shit. So now when you go back, you be like, damn, let me go look at a picture from last year. Full circle. Damn, I really did bulk up. I really did tone down. I really did tone up. So it's like that type of realization happens when you be put in that familiar situation of something that where you once was, I won't even say inadequate, but just not all right. You haven't got there yet, right? And it's like now you have finally reached a point where it's noticeable and it's recognizable. But another thing to that is don't get comfortable. Like most people, like they get to a point where it's like, oh, they think that like the journey is the journey for a reason. It's really the destination is really just the next goal, right? It's not like a place where you get there and like, all right, I'm here, it's over. It's like, no, like I'm still on my journey and my journey is never ending. And as I reach these milestone moments, I still have to create another milestone so I can continue to transcend and go upward versus just getting to a point where I'm, all right, yeah, I'm here now. I'm not saying don't coast, but it just means that just don't get comfortable. Don't think that you arrived, because there's really no arrival. It's just pit stops, and then you just get that motivation to keep going. So, you know, that was just a realization for me. Like, all right, cool. Like, it feel good to be here, but it's still more to do. Because, like, it's what is here. For here is like, all right, cool. I know for a fact that a year ago, I aspired to be where I am today. But now I'm aspiring to be at another spot. So I'm still in that aspiring phase. The aspiring phase don't go away. You know what I mean? You don't want it to. You always want to be aspiring, but that don't mean get to a point where you just, like, overly indulged in the fact that, oh, I gotta do it. Just knowing like, all right, I'm doing it, but I gotta keep doing it. I'm doing it, but I gotta get. You want to keep that gym body, you gotta keep going. You get the body, you don't say, all right, now I can just go back to eating Twinkies and motherfucking
Twinkies is crazy.
I take it back on them. Go back to eating motherfucking Little Debbie cakes and X, Y, and Z. It's like, no, like I want to make sure that I continue these habits that I form, because ultimately success is a principle based on habits.
And you said something before that I feel is related to that, where he's like, whether you keep a journal or whether it's progress pics, whatever, when you can look back like, damn, no, like a year ago where I'm at now, I wanted to be here. 100%. And sometimes I can get lost in translation.
Every time, because you live in day to day. So how many times we always talk about people not understanding that growth is incremental, it's not quantum. So another thing, I was just looking at my journal the other day. The day I missed my plane, which we can unpack at some point in the episode. I missed my plane, and I was just sitting there trying to like get myself together. And someone was like, I was going to journal, but like in my journal, I got like a one of them bookmarks that you can kind of hold the page. So I opened it up to a page, and now I'm just surfing through, and I'm reading the shit that I was writing 4 and 5 years ago, and I'm like, yo, I really became the things I said. Like, I'm talking about down to like the habits I said I want to develop. I want to get better here. Look, man, I'm not good with this. I need to improve. I'm like, oh shit, I'm actually that nigga that I wrote about becoming.
Right.
And this is just from a standpoint of actually doing the fucking work of getting 1% better. So it was just like, that was another moment for me where it was like, damn, like I talked about wanting to improve my communication. I talked about wanting to be disciplined in these areas. I talked about wanting to be consistent. I wrote this shit down. Like literally, I was going to bring my journal to the fucking show and read a page of how I was talking about how I want to handle conflict in my relationship prior to me getting in 2 other relationships that I actually been in that time frame. And I'm like, yo, I actually did all of these things that I said I wanted to do. So it just let me know, like, being able to write something down and then actually see it materialize through the work. That shit it felt good, because I'm like, damn, like now what else can I do? And I'm looking forward to looking back a year from now. Like, I wrote this last year saying I wanted to do X, Y, and Z, and now look. So, you know, that shit is dope.
Yeah, and I can relate to that as well, because again, like when all that hit me when I got that badge, I'm like, no, I kind of forgot I kind of set that declaration to the universe, like I'm gonna come back and kind of do that. So it's nothing like reflecting on those accomplishments and 100%. Realizing, like, you know,
no, in real time.
And when you said the 4 years ago, I don't know if I ever told you this, but I kind of track things in quarters. Okay. For some reason, like a couple years ago, I started thinking, like, you know, like maybe I look at
by years or months.
Years.
Okay,
it's like every 4 years. I feel like, you know, in 4 years, 4 years ago, what did you want to be in 4 years ago? Where you want to be 4 years from now? Yeah, maybe because, you know, financial markets, high school, college, basketball quarters, whatever. 40 seems like a solid number. Yeah, whatever. It's like, and you know, a lot of people don't believe me when I said about Ryan Q Live. I said Ryan Q Live wasn't a certain place. I said this year 1. If it wasn't a certain place by the 4th year, I was going to stop.
So how long did you do it for?
4 years.
Oh, all right. I felt like, I don't know, for some reason I thought you did that shit for 10 years, or maybe it was just drawn out because he was dropping an episode every day. You had too much time on your hands.
That's fair. But no, it was 4 years. I said, no, it's cool. It didn't reach that certain level, so I'm gonna stop it. It's time to transition, whatever. So I feel like a lot of people will kind of give them, like, it will put something in perspective. If you look at, like, maybe even like relationships, it's like, all right, like 4 years, what has changed, if anything?
Yo, to your point, right? So one of the things, and this is something I get anytime I find myself talking to somebody who's in a relationship where it's a tumultuous situation, there's a lot going on, and they seem like they torn between, should I leave, should I stay? I ask them this simple question, right? I say, if things were never to change and be exactly what they are in 5 years, do you find yourself better or worse without this person? And when I tell you so many relationships have ended after that question, and it's just a question, I'd be like, yo, if everything stayed exactly what it is, nothing got better or worse in 5 years, do you see yourself? Because ultimately, when people think about leaving, they always think about that fear of starting over. Right. You know what I mean? And that question is not supposed to just make you want to leave. It's supposed to make you reflect on if this is something that you see getting better or if it's something that you see staying the same. And if it was to stay the same, where do you end up? Like the stress, if it's stressful, the problems, if it's problem, like, is this something that you want 5 years from now? And what it does for people is it put that shit in perspective where it's like, all right, I can't be afraid to leave in a situation where if it stayed exactly the same, I wouldn't even want to be here 5 years from now. So why would I stay for another 3-4 fucking months for something that I know in 5 years is going to be something that I don't want, when I can actually take a step back, assess, and figure out the direction I need to be going in? Because if you get on a bus and it's going north and you need to be going south, every day you stay is taking you out of your way. And if people don't understand that sooner than later, this is how they end up in a 10-year situation, regretting you took 10 years on my life, but you knew in year 3 that you wanted to dip, but your fear made you stay. So, you know, asking that question, if nothing was to change and things were to remain the same 5 years from now, do you see yourself better or worse? It gives people that immediate action to look out into the future, but come back to the present moment and make a decision. And it's been effective, like extremely. Sometimes people be like, you know what? I see what I need to do to change me so that it could be different in 5 years. But in that moment, just asking that question, at least open up their mind to think about that.